Greetings, brothers and sisters. Happy to be before you. I was asked to do another topic on the level of the Illuminati and to talk about the death of Queen Elizabeth. So we're going to prepare for that. And I'm being responsible anytime somebody is sponsoring you or trying to contribute to what you're doing. It's just good to be respectful and to be thoughtful to do those shows, to be able to explain it. So I'm explaining, or rather doing extraneous speaking on the death of Queen Elizabeth, out of respect to our brother and sister that requested it. This is a very good topic because we should be thinking about the death of Queen Elizabeth as it relates to Black people. We say the death of Queen Elizabeth and the liberation of Blacks or Black people, because it's very, very important. Brothers and sisters, don't forget, I have our email for you. I want to make sure that I put that in there, just in case there are those of you that would like a book. And also, you can support us by Cash App. So support our movement, right? By Cash App. I want to make sure that I put that in there for you. I don't want to limit anyone from doing what they would like to do. Don't want to limit anyone. So definitely want to put this information in there. And if I don't have the information in there, I certainly can't blame you for not blessing me, blessing us, blessing the organization as you would like to. So you can support it by Cash App. All this new technology, I tell you, I'm so fascinated by it. I'm so fascinated by it. Of course, it's new to me. May not be new to you, but it's certainly new to me in the fact that I'm using it. And thank the brothers and sisters that have helped me set this up, all the help that I can get. I'm so thankful. Thankful to God, Allah, Jesus, Christ, whoever you want, whatever title that you would like. I'm thankful to God that He is faithful and just and certainly bless us. Brothers and sisters, also I need to put down the site where you can find these books. So I definitely want to be able to put that down. And we're going to take our time today to be able to explain this. We're not going to rush through it because we have to give it the attention, same attention that we gave to the subject we just talked about. But it must have touched some ears because there are some individuals asking about the death of Queen Elizabeth. And we're going to talk about that because this death is not a negative thing for Black brothers and sisters, but a positive thing for us. So it's not negative for us. And I don't say this as one who takes the death of anyone lightly, but I see it as part of the design that God has set to free His people. And we are on the track of freedom, and brothers and sisters, that can't be stopped. Our freedom will not be stopped. It cannot be stopped. And no lie can live forever, brothers and sisters. And that's what we are going to talk about today. It was a monarch that has been sustained on lies, illusions, half-truths. And so now God has shown Himself, brothers and sisters, have come before us and have shown Himself victorious. For He is the author of life and death, right? And all that we have belongs to God. Isn't that right? I believe the Muslims have a term and say all that we have belongs to Allah, right? So we understand that, don't we, brothers? Anyone in the FOI, the NOI, we understand that. We should be rejoicing today in the passing of a leader who had familiarized themselves with reigning power of oppression. I believe in the past, when Britain was in its heyday, which is the latter 18th, 19th, 20th century, there was a saying that the sun never set on the British Empire because the empire was so vast. Wherever you went, you find the British Empire. You find British control wherever you went. But brothers and sisters, we know that no lie can live forever. And we're happy, right, and elated in the fact that God is on the throne. God is on the eternal throne. The eternal majesty has the final say against any system of evil or good. He has the final say because it is he who created us and not we ourselves. And brothers and sisters, when you think about it in that light, and you could get so happy, right? When you think about it in that light, you can't help but to get so happy. I know that I'm happy when I see a system falling, a reigning system of oppression from the top level, from the House of Lords, even the House of Commons, from the Democrat and the Republican, right? From the wealthy caste and the wealthless caste, from the wealthy class and the poor class, from the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, whatever that wealth class or structure is, whether there be black and white players, black or white players, we know, brothers and sisters, that it's going to fall. And that is what we're seeing today. We're seeing a system that have come to its end. We're seeing a system that have literally come to its end. And brothers and sisters, you and I have to get in the mindset, because that's where God wants us. We have to get in the mindset of being able to receive what God has set before us. We got to be able to receive it. Now, in order to receive it, we have to prepare ourselves to build cities and have to be building cities. And in building these cities, in our philosophy of black nationalism, we are literally walking out of oppression into possession, something that we can control for ourselves. Black possessions. With great substance can we walk out with great substance out of the powers of the enemy into our own godlike power, our own godlike creation, our own godlike economy, our own city that sets upon a hill that cannot be hid, brothers and sisters. That's what God has for us. That's what he has for you and I. And the way has already been made. I tell brothers and sisters all the time that the way has already been made. The only thing that we have to do, you and I, is actualize what has been made for us already by the power of God. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Baha'i faith, whether you're Church of God in Christ, whether you're Baptist, whether you are Zoroastrian or Hebrew Israelite, it doesn't matter where you are. It really doesn't. Whether you're a Moorish Templar of America, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're black, God has made a way. And if you step into that power, God will elevate you for stepping out in the power of leadership to do what others failed to do. And that is to stand against the present administration, which has done nothing but oppress us, done nothing but obsess us, isn't that right? And for us to stand up against them in the power of God and claim our destiny of liberation, freedom, justice, and equality. That's what God has called you and I to do. You and I have to be intelligent enough, brothers and sisters, to be able to do the very thing that it takes for us to be free, to be liberated. And once we've built our own economies, our own investment inside of that economy, our own cities, our own banks, our own states, when we build these things, right, our own land, don't wait for the government to give it to you. Go where the black cities used to be and rebuild these cities. Nicodemus is just one of those areas. We have areas today that black people have a major part of the population that we have to be able to control and go there and make the decision. Anytime you want to make a movement, you start it from the ground level. You don't start it at the top. You don't start it at the top. You start it from the ground. And you take people that look something like you and I, and you organize them to produce, right? To produce an answer for requests that people have in the market. What do I mean? If a man desires a grocery store in a safe neighborhood, within the black neighborhood, if you build that grocery store, right, in the safety of that neighborhood, right? Why? Because it's something that you need. And if you need it, the people have to be taught to build it, and don't steal from it. Don't come to that store and steal, but to support the store, come in and buy those products, and that money stays within the black community. Because if you got a grocery store, then you can have a lending association. You can cash checks. You can deliver checks. See what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? You got to get into the mindset of this. See, that's the whole answer. If you could get a gas station with a grocery store on it, right? And you can start a lending institution, you'll be able to take from one store, build up the black community. It doesn't take as much money to build the black community as it does to build the white community. You have just got to get in that mindset. It's the mindset that you have to get in order to understand it. You have to get into a certain mindset. So and you can benefit from this mindset even more so today than you could yesterday after the death of Queen Elizabeth. I want you to understand that America belongs to England. America is the child of Mother England. Mother England has other children too, but America is the direct child of England, right? In the sense that the English left there and came here to establish it upon the promises of slavery and the slave corporation. England was still making money with slaves, but there were those from the Illuminati that decided to break away from the royal family and to use the same system of oppression to build up the wealth that they build up today. That's what when you think of America, when you see America, this is what you should be thinking about. This is what should come across your mind. You see, you're still dealing with England. You're just dealing with her son, right? You're dealing with England's son as opposed to the mother. You're dealing with the son, but the mother has died now. And now the son has embraced the power of England. So that means the son who has produced now the grandson, that means America disseminates in its position, right? As one rises, another fall, right? Right? Or as another fall, another rise, either way. So you're dealing with England from a new perspective. And this is why I say that in the death of Queen Elizabeth, in her death, it is a final nail in the coffin of oppression, because Charles can't govern England like Elizabeth, even with all the training and the history that they've given him of his own mother. The system has changed, so it has to be remade. And any system that has to be remade isn't good to govern, right, or to run the old machine, right? You have old motors to run old machines, right? And when new machines are invented, right, you still have motors, but those motors are built on different metrics. Isn't that right? You can't take that motor and put it in an old engine. You can't do it. You can't take, even with the Corvette, you can't take a new Corvette engine and put it in an old Corvette car unless you change everything under the hood into the current, the current engine, right? and add to that replacements and rotors, right, for the wheels in order to make that car go. The body may be old, right? England is still England, but it has to have a new motor. It has to have a new motor, but you certainly can't take an old motor and put it in a new engine and expect it to go. It won't happen, brothers and sisters. The technology is too advanced. And the old England, the technology of the old England won't benefit the technology of a new England. The new England needs a new technology, a new motor, right? And this leader is going to have to compromise in order to get it. And I want you to understand that when somebody is drowning, and that's England, if England is about to drown, and that means America is already underwater, because see, England is resting on top of America. It's not America resting on England. England is the greater country. God saved the queen, right? Can't save the queen anymore. Can't save the queen anymore. God saved what? Now the king. And he's coming with a different mindset. And he's younger, and he's grown up in a different England. And he's seen the transformation of a different England, right? So today you got Meghan Markle, who has produced black heirs to the throne. So already in that, the kingdom is already breached, right? Because the past kingdom intended to have a white edifice, white royals to lead it. Now there are black royals, right? Justifiably, there are black royals who could come in, take the throne, and have leadership. Can literally do it. But even if a black royal was to get on the throne in England, I want you to understand that the monarch is still against you because of the position, right, that black royal is in. Understand this. That's why your only answer is nationalism, black nationalism. When Barack Obama became president of the United States, our position didn't change. As a matter of fact, the supporters and those workers and police, white police, and other white people showed you their dissatisfaction when Barack Obama came to rule the throne, right? Because that's what he did. As a president, he ruled the throne in America. A small throne as a president, right, is nothing but a rook, right, as far as countries are concerned, for the larger governing power, which is England. See, England runs the Western global power structure, brothers and sisters. You have to understand this. And America is the best knighthood, the best rook, or the best tower, right, of rulership that England has to date. America is. But what makes America go is the black people who run the workforce of America. And I'm sure you would agree, which produces for America. So you got America, right, who can't run without the engine that she has, without the battery power, which are black people. And you got England, who can't run under the current status of an old relationship as it relates to the oppressed people of the world. And so, as you could see, when the Queen of England died, the black nationalists that were in England began to praise the death of the Queen, because they got some sense. And they know that as long as she was in power, as long as she was alive, they would have to deal with the old ways. Now, the House of Commons and the House of Lords got to come up with a whole new plan, whole new illusion, isn't that right? To keep the people under the spell. They got to come up with something, because the present answer they have isn't working. What they have presently isn't working anymore. It can't go on with it, right? So all the charades that were good during the time of Queen Elizabeth is no longer any good. They've got to have some new charades. Same thing with America. You see a lot of the black and white leaders that are dying. But you don't have, with black people, the leaders they have in front of us, right, are the ones that the administration picked. That includes England. Because America, when you see America, you see England. There's no difference. There's no difference. And they put black people in front of you that they had power over, black people that they could rule, black people who they could tell what to do and who would carry out their master's will. Same way in England. If you got Meghan Markle, she may have come from America, but she's part of the royal lineage of England. You have to understand that through her mother, who is a black woman. You have to understand that her white dad is not an England royal. Matter of fact, he's considered trash. But her mother is attached to the throne of England, living in America. And how many others do you think are attached to that throne living in America? And Meghan Markle, when she married Prince Harry, you may be able to identify her, but she's become untouchable and a part of the very dynasty that oppresses and controls black people around the world globally. But as God would have it, because of racism, right, and because of enlightenment, Meghan Markle's children being born through her and Harry are in direct opposition to what the fabric of the Illuminati, the Enlightenment, or the majestical, if you will, kingdom of England, because the desire was to kill all black, right? Kill the darker, save the lighter. Kill the darker, save the whiter. That was the whole thing. And now, within the kingdom, in a direct line of succession, you've had black children being born in the kingdom that will rule with a different mindset, which spells the doom of England. It spells their doom. So, brothers and sisters, this is something that we have to talk about. And I'm glad the brother and sister that requested it wanted me to do it. And I certainly will do it. Anything that you ask of me, I will do it. Today is a Saturday, so I haven't been as busy as other days. And but we are trying to raise money for the mission, brothers and sisters. So I ask you to be generous as we raise money for the missions, as we raise money for the food. We have to do that. We have to raise money to be able to help our young brothers and sisters, many of them who are not eating because their families are on the drugs that was put inside of the community. I'm spending time here typing this so you will have the link to be able to go there, and a support message for you. Give a support message to ask you to support the program that we have here, because we certainly can't do it without your support. We can't do it. So we need your help to be able to do what's right and to be righteous in our community, be able to help our own people, to give them free mental health, to be able to give many of them the clothing. If you have clothing that can be donated, you know the address. You can send it there, canned goods or what have you. But we certainly need monies to keep the lights on and things of that nature as we feed these individuals, to be able to cook food, to be able to feed people and things of that nature, to be able to continue to do what we can do the job that we can do. So, but brothers and sisters, this is an awesome topic. This is an awesome topic that we are talking about today, because there are those that are asleep. There are those that are asleep. As we speak, they are asleep. They don't know what's happening. They said the queen is dead. And don't you know, brothers and sisters, I even saw some black people witness brothers and sisters out of ignorance, who are sad that the queen died. And they really don't understand. You know, it is amazing. It is amazing to me how twisted and just disturbed we are when we are sad at the death of an administration that kept us oppressed. As slaves to the Americas, to England, as slaves, because that's what you and I are. We're slaves. We're not free. We're not free. We're under the position of oppression from a democratic government and a republic that has oppressed you and I. It hasn't done anything for us. It hasn't done anything for us. Nothing at all. And we have to get wise. We better get wise. We better get wise. Because if we don't, then we'll fall into a deeper form of oppression. Remember, we talked about the spider web. Dr. Collett talked about the spider web. It says not the spider web, it's not the spider, it's the spider web. He said, those that say it's not the spider, it's the spider web, he said, you sound like a fool. Right? He said, if you destroy the web, the spider would weave another web. Isn't that right? He's talking about it is a parable about government, a parable about the government in which we live, and then the Western global government that runs America, that runs other nations that are beholden to it, such as England, right? So the web is considered or symbolic to the system of government that oppress you and I. This is what Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was talking about. And then we're going to talk about Sister Ava, Dr. Ava Muhammad. We're going to certainly cover that tonight at 9 o'clock. But in these series, it's important that we put out the information so that you could know that the web is weak. The web of the spider is weak. The layer of the snake has become compromised. And I hope you can appreciate it, brothers and sisters. Appreciate what I'm saying. Because not only are these leaders dying, but a lot of their copyons, their agents, their informants, and their provocateurs are dying, which brings us into power. And so what does that mean? That means that even those that they've hired to be on Facebook, to be on YouTube, to attack black organizations and black leaders, right? In these deaths, that means that these individuals are not going to last. They've had a run, right? And it was good in the beginning. It was good in the beginning. But it can't be sustained if the powers are weak. And I'll tell you something about this enemy. This racist white man, whether he be European or American. Let me tell you something that you can observe. You can always observe this. I want you to know that he don't even trust the black coons and goons that he have doing his evil amongst black people. He don't even trust them. He don't even trust them. And I hate to explain it this way, but I ask you to pardon me as I explain it this way. In the death of Minister Malcolm, they gave these black brothers blanks that had the shotguns that ran up to shoot Minister Malcolm. They gave them blanks. When you study the autopsy of Minister Malcolm, you'll see that he had blank shelling in his chest because a blank at close range will still damage you and can kill you, can't even kill you. But it would have to be a whole lot of blanks. But in the autopsy of Minister Malcolm, and you can get this from the Freedom of Information Act, you can order an autopsy, you'll see that the bullets were going down in the chest. There's no way, brothers and sisters, that you can do this from the door. It just doesn't happen that way. Doesn't happen that way. Let's also talk about this blood red carpet. Talked about the Illuminati. We talk about the bloody expiration date. But let's talk about this bloody red carpet that's in America, that's in England. This is another signifier, right, of those that are achieved, the wealthy, and the price that they paid to get there, and then also the royals and the price that they paid to keep the kingdom going. They will kill, maim, assassinate any royal, any executor, such as the President of the United States, any black nationalist leader, such as human rights and civil rights leaders in the United States, any holy religious leader that's making any difference, male or female, down to the last child. It could even be a green movement. If it goes against the system of oppression and capitalism that the white man has over you and I, the person is dead and they're done. Brothers and sisters, if you look at the death of John F. Kennedy, the very death of John F. Kennedy happened because his program and this particular speech and the program that he was going to put in place would have given us in that day a level of oppression, howbeit closer to liberation for black people. And the speech that he delivered that got him killed suggested the very same thing. Not only did he say it, but the everything had already been put in place to make these things happen. And I want you to know, I want to bring to your remembrance that John F. Kennedy was killed, assassinated in front of the American people. Assassinated in front of the American people. He wasn't allowed to live off a long life. Not only was he killed, but his brother, Robert Kennedy, was killed because America and its racist ways could not survive with a Robert and a John F. Kennedy. Not only that, but when you look, brothers and sisters, his son, little John F. Kennedy Jr., was also assassinated as they leaked. It had just been leaked. We don't know what happened behind closed doors, but the information was leaked that he may run for president of the United States, that he had possibility of winning among Democrats and Republicans overwhelmingly through a landslide, and they killed little John. So brothers and sisters, it doesn't matter if you're white or black. If it offends, if it threatens the present system that have you and I oppressed, the man ain't going to let you go at that. He's not going to let you go. There's something that you will have to deal with. And he'll have to deal with you if you stand up to do it. Now, I know some brothers and sisters saying, well, then that means if you speak out, you may get killed. This is revolution, brothers and sisters. This is the revolution. And you speaking the truth will get you killed. But it would be far better for you and I to meet our maker, so to speak, than to be oppressed and silent and mealy-mouthed. Because if somebody don't stand for the black man, we'll stay in this bondage. We will stay in this bondage. Remember, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad said, if you destroy the web, right, that the spider would just weave another web. This web would be better. It would be more buoyant, right? It would be able to hold more, right? It'll be polished and fine-tuned, right? Minister Malcolm said that we fight a Western global power structure that will destroy anybody that threatens it. You have to understand that. Now, there are leaders that have been around a long time, right? That have reigned, I'm going to use that term, if you will allow me, reigned in succession with Queen Elizabeth. Black leaders that have been pawns in this game of chess, right? It was a game of conquest, game of chess that we've been playing ever since we've been in bondage here in America, right? And there are black leaders and white ones that have lived a long life working together that are going to die, right? Pretty soon, and black leaders that have never been a threat to the establishment. This is the reason why they've lived so long. But you and I will witness the death of these black leaders, these coons, turncoats, copions, agent, provocateurs, liars, religious liars, social liars, political liars that have stood in front of us and given us false hope and false dreams, right? The ones that have lived have been no threat to us, have been no threat to the establishment, right? Have not been on our side, had not even taken us into circumstance, right? Because when a leader is strong, he's a threat to our security, but he alerts us that we have to stand, and any place is better than here. It's better for us to stand on our feet fighting for our liberation than to die in oppression, right? And that is the reason why you didn't have, they couldn't let a Malcolm X live. They couldn't let Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad live. They could not let Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad live. They could not have let Dr. Abraham Muhammad live. They couldn't let them live. These are true black nationalists. They're teaching black nationalism. They couldn't live. And any white that comes against it can't live. John Lennon couldn't live. Robert F. Kennedy couldn't live. John F. Kennedy couldn't live. This is true. Brothers and sisters, they couldn't let John Brown live. Why, you're out of your mind. Everything they said, everything they did worked against the administration. And that's what you and I have to understand. We have to understand it. That's why I say, and I've always said this, that if a white is truly your friend, they won't get mad at you and won't separate from you for you speaking about black nationalism or you working, right, in the occupation of black nationalism, because that's what it is. He won't get angry with you, or she won't get angry with you. They're not going to try to change your mind. If they truly care about you, then they'll have to face the ugliness of what Americanism really is, because Americanism is racism, right? To be English means to be racist. You have to understand that. You got to understand it. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. To be English is to give in to the system of monarch, which is against blacks and is for oppression of blacks and other darker colored people of the world. To be an American is the same thing. American is a son of England. England is the mother country of America. America, the way that it is organized for black people, is going to always bag England up, and it's going to always bag up the system of oppression, capitalism. It's going to always bag it up. You have to understand that. There's no getting around it. There's no getting around it. You'll never get away from it. And the queen has died. And you have to understand that this is a chess move closer made by God to your liberation. My liberation is a chess move closer to our liberation. The fact that an old administration is dying out. You look at America and you look at England. They were great in their heyday. At their start, they were great. There were great capitalistic systems in their heyday. Isn't that right? If you look at all the other European nations, all of Eurasia, all the other European nations were great in their heyday of oppression, right? But little by little, the nationalists, black nationalists, the brown black nationalists, red black nationalists, the yellow black nationalists began to chip away at that system of oppression, began to chip away at that system. The system had to be rebuilt to be better, right? But in order for the system to rebuild to be better, then that means the author of that system had to live forever. Well, brothers and sisters, none of us are going to live forever. And so in light of death, that's why it's so important for these kings, anyway you read it, to build up someone who could succeed with their type of thinking and succeed in keeping that administration alive. Is that right? Whether it be a kingdom or presidential administration, it's all the same thing, brothers. Presidents are only elected kings or elected corporate executive owners that are there to keep the interests of America and to keep the interests of England on a grand scale. And I just want you to know that, because all of it plays a part in the production of the Western global power structure. This is the global power structure to keep the darker man oppressed and to keep the lighter man in the power of the ruling class. And even among the ruling class, there are fights, right? Among the ruling class, there are still fights. And you have to understand this, that the fight is for power. That's all. That's all, for power. And so this is where the idea of the New World Order comes in, or the one world government, when we talk about the Illuminati. Because you have to understand, brothers and sisters, that There is nothing in the world that America or England can do for you, right? Because what they could do, they did. And what they did wasn't welcome. That's slavery. They put you and I in slavery. It wasn't welcome. It's not something that you asked for. It's something that the white man did. Why did he do it? He did it to keep himself in power, to keep himself great. And even beyond that, brothers and sisters, he created a scientific lie and illusion called eugenics to make him seem superior and continue to tweak the system before our eyes, that the younger generations, darker people of the world, will grow up looking at the white man as superior because he did it through religion. He did it through the education system. He did it through politics. He did it through every system that would benefit him, profit and non-profit, to make you. Every time you looked on the wall of God, what did you see? You saw a white Jesus. Every time you saw Christianity. And even those that knew better, other countries that had sold out their darker brothers, knew what was going on, knew the game, right? But played into it, bought in to sell out, and sold out to buy in to push this lie further, which kept us deeper in bondage. What happened in Africa? The first time that a white man ever saw an African, right? He brought something glossy, right? He brought a story with it. He gave trinkets, isn't that right? To manipulate the powers there and to get some African on his side to sell out his darker brother. Is that right or wrong? And if you look in the Bible story as it relates to Joseph, the coat of many colors, this was happening so often until an allegory is created to express the position that Africans were in, selling each other into bondage. Selling each other into bondage. And so a man had desired to rule and created a system of oppression, created a system of monetary oppression too, to be able to lord over his darker brothers, darker people of the world. This is the system that we're in. This system was created not by the European. It was adopted by the European, but created by Africans who did not hold, in many aspects, their brothers and sisters dear, as the law told them. Instead, they began to resist and disobey the law of God and befriended this white man, right, who was already perverted and distorted. And you know what happened, brother? Said, flee the very appearance of evil. Bad company corrupt good manners. And you had got some bad company. You got in bad company, and you began to betray one another. Not all Africans, because there were Africans that were fighting. There were some Africans that were fighting. Many of them that were fighting, getting the European out. But all you need is one person to breach the kingdom. Just one. Just one. And you'll find that kingdom fall. Same way. You only need one person to speak of nationalism, and you will build up other black nationalists, right? So you and I should be thankful at the transcending of Queen Elizabeth. We should be thankful that God needed her more. That's the way they tell you, isn't it? They said that God, right? God knows better. In this case, brothers and sisters, God really know better than us. His ways are truly higher than our ways, and his powers higher than anything that we can muster up. So, brothers and sisters, this is a very powerful teaching. Now, what will England do? What will England do now? Now that the reigning monarch, with the old powers of dictatorship, with the old powers of capitalism, with the old powers of oppression and obsession, what will they do? How will they survive? Meghan Markle has become a part of the kingdom, have been there now from some 6 to 10 years. She has been a part of the kingdom. The kingdom built on racism, built on fascism, built on dictatorship and truth, mentality, total rule over other people, were at one time ruling the darker monarchs of the world, the darker princes and princesses of the world, but now the line of Elizabeth has been breached by a black royal who the son, a grandson of this monarch, has impregnated and brought forth fruit that are black, dark, and beautiful, that will someday sit on the throne. Brothers and sisters, the white man, and I'll say this, won't claim it, but I'm trying to tell you the system and history of the kings and monarchs of Europe. They will kill and have killed darker people to make sure that they never sit on the throne of England. They have killed white people to make sure that an ideology never sits on the throne of England. If you remember Princess Diana, this is getting toward the red carpet, brothers and sisters. I told you that blood in the carpet is what makes it red, and it's soaked. It is a blood-soaked carpet. If you remember the death of Diana and the extremity of that death, if you remember the scandal that was around the marriage and how England was made to try and hate Diana, but the ideology of Princess Diana was so strong that they began to see England in new perspectives of what it could be, what it was intended to be. And she became the fairy tale princess, not only of England, but also of America. For the first time in history, you had a royal that fully embraced black people, proof of which, Michael Jackson and Princess Diana were on talking terms, were literally friends. And he could call her up on the phone. Now, I want you to understand how this threatened the structure of the English government, right, as it relates to the monarch. You still have a monarch, but it can be breached with the concerns of the people. When Princess Diana went to visit these countries, she would embrace the children and pick them up. She wrote letters which shows her distaste and disdain for people being in bondage that were being destroyed. They could literally be helped. And she saw a world, right, a lot different than Queen Elizabeth saw it. And the fact that she won the hearts of the global population, right? That went against the fabric of what England was. Went against the fabric. You couldn't have a Princess Diana and have a Queen Elizabeth on the throne. You couldn't have that. And this popularity was a threat to the history of England and the salvation of England, which was threatened in the 80s due to inflation, high debt, high deficit, and England losing its power as a global structure. So what happened, brothers and sisters? And we have to discuss it. Diana being a threat to that institution is equivalent to John F. Kennedy being a threat to the institution they have here in America. And no white person who is a part of the web, the administration, to keep racism alive, because that's what it is. The Illuminati and all of it is about racism and pushing the power of oppression to keep the darker skinned people down and to keep the white people up. If white people go against it, then they're a danger to that administration. Princess Diana was a danger to that administration. And we know, the world knows, even her son knows, her sons, they know, Charles know that she was assassinated. Journalists know. There were journalists that investigated her death that end up killed too, right? They know that it was orchestrated by Queen Elizabeth. They already know that came from the crown, brothers and sisters. And you and I would be foolish to think that we don't have traitors among our race, right? We will be fools. There's no way that a black leader could be around as long as Mauricelm-Lei has been around and not be an agent for white cause when he has agents inside of his own organization. I mean, there are white people sprinkled in Mauricelm-Lei's organization like salt on land, literally just sprinkled with whites. You could see them there like snowflakes on a black carpet. Isn't that right? And so anywhere you see the white man in a black nationalist organization or in cahoots with a black nationalist organization, this spells danger. At the same time, even if you if you see a white person who identifies with the oppressed in the point that they could use their powers to lessen the oppression of those people, this white person is a danger to the administration, the ruling class, whether it be in the Western global power structure in particular or nationalistic white power structures as it relates to their own land. This person has to be done away with. They have to be eliminated. Princess Diana suffered an assassination. John F. Kennedy suffered an assassination. Robert F. Kennedy suffered an assassination. John Brown suffered an assassination. President Lincoln suffered an assassination. Any black or white person that is a threat to the white global power structure, a threat to white nationalism, is considered a threat to the white global power structure, and they have to be taken out. They have to be taken out. Don't you find it strange, brothers and sisters, that President John F. Kennedy was killed in Dallas, Texas, the same state that the vice president of the United States came from, President Lyndon Baines Johnson? Here, Lyndon Baines Johnson was the son-in-law of Samuel Rayburn, the husband of Lady Bird, and Samuel Rayburn being one of the chief architects of the reinstitution, reconstruction, and building of the Ku Klux Klan, who was also the blood relative of Strom Thurmond. Brothers and sisters, you have to open your mind to this and realize what's happened. This power is dying, but we've got to be able to organize. We've got to organize and build up black areas, black power, black economy, black armies to build our interests as black people, to control our own communities, to control a portion of land that belongs to us, to control old black cities, rebuild them up. Nicodemus is a great example of one of these. All you would need is 100 people to go to Nicodemus, black people with money that they've saved to build up businesses, and there are people that patronize Nicodemus every year, annually. The minute that they get in their head that there's some businesses down there, right, they'll begin to build a highway in that area. And pretty soon you'll see a main highway come to where Nicodemus is. You'll have the main highway to go to Hill City, but you have other highway to tell about where Nicodemus is. And when that main highway comes to there, you have more people to come to there. And people, when they begin to see that there's a chance to put forth business, they'll begin to start planning business. And the investors will see you and I in those areas. It doesn't matter at that point whether they're black or white. They'll begin to have to buy our products. And when they buy our products and invest so that you can build up our products in an all-black town, all-black state, all-black city, all-black community of commonwealth amongst black people, then we'll begin to emerge as major powers. When you look, brothers and sisters, every city was started this way. There were black cities all across America, even under a regime that couldn't suffer it. And so the white man destroyed those cities only because those black people thought that they had found a level of freedom, justice, equality, and democracy. But you and I know that democracy is nothing but hypocrisy, and you and I know that we are not citizens of America. We're merely victims of America. But brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, for the first time in our life, we have a chance to rebuild the black cities of America and have some independence and wealth for ourselves, that doesn't fall under capitalism, but will fall under black nationalism, and us as black people in our own black area with our own black land will be able to build up the black populations and have some say-so for our destination in the future here in this country, here in America, over there in England, over there in Asia, over there in parts of Africa that the whites have controlled for far too long. It's time for them to go. And in every other place where the white man is, as a governing power, as an occupying force, we will be able to usurp those places. If you look at Atlanta, Georgia, the black men and women that are in Atlanta, Georgia are fooling themselves and are ignorant, totally ignorant, to not push nationalism and begin to take and usurp those powers while they're wasting their time fighting for voting rights. They're wasting their time. They're wasting their time fighting to become leader in the white man's organization. They're wasting their time even trying to become Democrats or Republican, because they're neither Democrat, they're not Republican, and they're not even American citizen and ain't got sense enough to know it. And so, brothers and sisters, what you and I have to do is see these advantages in these cities and begin to embrace them. And if you're in the north, you should move down to the south. Unless that northern city is populated with enough blacks for you to occupy that city. And I hope you can appreciate what I'm saying. But if you're in the north and you're in an area that you are the minority, then you should move to a southern state that has a majority population, or move to a northern city or state that has a majority of the black population and occupy it. What do you mean? What do we mean when we say occupied? Brothers and sisters, when we say occupied, you have to build up businesses to be able to sustain your black population in that city. And if you do that, this is progressive, and you can do it because now these systems are dying and the leaders of these systems are dying. How does the death of the Queen of Elizabeth benefit you? Because she was the one with an old rule, old mindset, old power that governed America, which is her son. England is the mother country of America, ruled by other white devils that are oppressing you. With her gun, they got to redraw these lines. They got to reorganize things. But brothers and sisters, you and I should be reorganizing too, to get some power of our own. We should be organizing to get cities of our own, to get businesses of our own that we can control, and to get political organization of our own, such as the Black Coffee Party. And you take the Black Coffee Party, we'll be able to, with the black people that we got here in America, we'll be able to organize politically and change the structure of politics and be able to get reparations on a local level, a state level, a national level, and an international level as we charge America for the evil that they've done to us presently and our ancestors in the past that have kept us in oppression, by reorganizing ourselves politically, by reorganizing ourselves religiously, by organizing ourselves educationally, and by reorganizing ourselves economically, we'll be able to reclassify and reestablish ourselves as black nationalists with political power, social power, monetary power, and every other power that the white man has, for us to be able to exist as equals and to separate as an equal away from this white man out of his system, which will totally collapse his system. And we have to be wise to understand that this is the chance that we have to be able to interpret in our history every advantage that is given to us, if we would interpret it. Brothers and sisters, there are people right now that can't even tie the death of the Queen of England to the liberation of black folk, not just in America, but globally. Now is the time for us to rise, brothers and sisters. Now is the time. If you go on Twitter and you pull up Jeff Bezos and Queen Elizabeth, just Google it, and you'll see that there was a black sister out of England, an African out of England, right, that's oppressed by the monarch over there, the democracy over there, that began to fuss with Jeff Bezos, saying that he wasn't as much of an oppressor for black people here and globally as Queen Elizabeth was for black people here and globally. And that's a fact, brothers and sisters. We just got to open up our mind to see it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and thumbs up, brothers and sisters. We certainly can use it. And just remember that you can support us through Cash App. You can also support us, brothers and sisters, through buying a book. You buy our books, it's got the same terminology that we speak there, and there are many good books that you can purchase involving Malcolm X, John Brown, Alex Haley, manic aggressive personality disorder, liberation. So many books that we have that will be beneficial to you. Please support us, brothers and sisters. Please support us. And here's my I put my email in the comment section, and you'll be able to let me know what book you want once you've blessed us with your Cash App, and I'll make sure that I email that PDF right to you. It'll be to you in a matter of seconds. But brothers and sisters, we're at a very strong area in our history where we have no choice but to reign. God is turning over the world to the darker skinned brothers and sisters, and proof of which even the population of the white man is dying out. Why, he's even killing each other now in war. And he can't fight us with an increase in depopulation. And that's why when you look at Biden, for all of those that think that Biden is a good guy, because I know he's not, anybody that's working for the system of capitalism can't be good to black people, even black people, right? But with that being said, Biden seemed like a good guy. And black people just loving him because he picked black people. He always picked someone closer to him. Black people that have always played up to him, he'll always pick them to do his bidding. Because they're close to the house. They're close to the house. He's still a plantation owner. Biden's another slave owner. Right? He's a president of the United States. The chief slave owner. The chief oppressor of America is the president of the United States. It's the chief oppressor. Barack Obama was an oppressor. He was running. He was running the house. What house? The White House. You got to understand that. From the Capitol. The Capitol, what Capitol? The capital of this nation that supports the system of oppression. He wasn't there for you or I. He wasn't doing anything for you or I. You have to understand that. You got to understand it, brothers and sisters. And it's time for you to understand that, because you understand that, then you understand your fight. Your fight for black nationalism is a fight of survival. Right? And we have a chance to do it. These powers are dying out. All the coons are dying out. You look, every black leader that's been around for 50 or so years, quote unquote, fighting for black nationalism is dying out too. It won't be long. You'll see, because God is taking them out. Huh? Yeah, the plan has already been written. God is taking them out. It won't be long. You'll see. Amali Yeshatelli, you read about him. He's dead. Nobody's going to know how it happened. Nobody's going to know. All we're going to know is that he's dead. And look up and find him dead. Right? He's working with the enemy. And God has something to say about that. God has something to say about all of those that are involved in the death of our sister, Ava Muhammad. All of those that's involved in the death of our brother, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. All of those that was involved, right, past and present, in the death of Dr. King, the death of Minister Malcolm. You will see, brothers and sisters, them dying out. Many of them are too old to move now anyway. Jesse Jackson, he's on his way out. They're trying to keep him alive on a ventilator. He's going to. Been around, been no threat to this administration. No threat to the administration that we're in. Because they work along with the administration, see? And I already know it. But anytime I say it, brothers and sisters that are not hip to it get angry with me. No sister, you get angry with me. You should be researching to see what I'm saying. If what I'm saying is true, but you shouldn't be angry with me. It's time for the black man to rise, because God is moving all the obstacles, black or white, that is in the way of our liberation. God is moving them. God is moving them. And you have to understand that. Brothers and sisters, I believe I beat this horse till I can't beat it anymore. And so I'm thankful that you stopped by. Don't forget to support us, please. Brothers and sisters, we need your support. And I've been obedient to do the show that our brother and sister wanted me to do. And I do it because I love the people. I love the people. And brothers and sisters, if I'm not asked to come back before you, then I'll see you at 9 o'clock tonight. And we'll have another very interesting subject. And the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the man that has given us the knowledge to awaken us and to raise us up from death to life, to put us in a straight perpendicular line, to keep us in righteousness, that we will be standing right and exact. We'll be talking about that tonight. Brothers and sisters, if we've ever needed the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if we've ever needed God, if we've ever needed the wisdom of Dr. E.C. Morris, we need it now. We need men and women that are convinced that God is enough. Men and women that are convinced that we don't have to sell out. You don't have to sell out. All you have to do is live a life of righteousness and stand up. And if we do that, then God is on the throne, ready to deliver us. You don't have to sell out or buy in, brothers and sisters. If you do the right thing, if you're standing for righteousness, if you're speaking righteousness, if you're living right, God is all that you need to keep you standing in the place of holiness. We've got to stand in the power of God. That's all I'm saying. When it's all said and done, we've got to stand in God's power. And it has to be enough to deliver us, you and I. It has to be enough to deliver us. Brothers and sisters, I've appreciated you being here. You don't have to come, and I realize that. But I'm glad that you have come. And even if you hadn't come, brothers and sisters, then I want you to know that I will still be speaking here, and the recording itself has become sanctified by Almighty God. Brothers and sisters, I appreciate you. Greetings, Brother Derek. Greetings, Sister Tylene. I believe I'm saying that right. Greetings to you both. Salam alaikum. And remember, no matter how hard it gets, brothers and sisters that are out there that are also listening, God is in control. God is in control. Please support our Cash App. Please buy a book from us. Some support so we can continue to do this. So we can continue to feed the people physically, religiously, socially, and otherwise. We have children that are not eating, that we're able to bless because their parents are on drugs. We have drug rehabilitation system that your dollars help. Anything that you bless us and send it in. When you purchase a book, you donate to our Cash App, this is what you're doing. You're helping us. We're able to give them clothes. We're able to give them food. Able to sit them in our small training so that they can work a job. Learn what it is to do carpentry and things of that nature. Baking and things of that nature. Anything that we can teach them by other brothers and sisters that are volunteered the time to do it. So brothers and sisters, we appreciate you very much. I love you. If there's some brothers and sisters that you're not getting along with, find some area that you can agree. Find some place that will allow you to come together and hug and embrace and prove your love for one another, brothers and sisters. And whatever you do, continue to love who you are and respect your position that God has given you. The fact that you're black should make you happy, and it should make you thank your God, because there's no better place to be and no people to be in this time of deliverance that God has given you and I. If I didn't say it in the beginning, I'll say it now. I love you, brothers and sisters. Salam alaikum, which is in Arabic tongue, means peace be unto you. I say again, assalamu alaikum. Someday we'll all be free.